So we're going to double down on this concept of simplicity and greatness. So, like, in order to be great, you're going to find you're going to need to be simplistic. And let me explain. And if you didn't hear the last podcast, but caught like some text or some quick little video online or something like that got you here, the concept is moving away from the complexities of life and getting into simplicity. And I love this time of year because the majority of people are starting to wake up and look at, okay, 1/1 happens this Wednesday, so I'm recording this on a Monday. So 1/1/20 is happening on Wednesday. I got 2 more days left for this year. And there's something that in that 1/1/20 creates some sort of motivation. It's some sort of drive to be able to make a change, to be able to say, hey, this is the direction I got to go. And I don't know if it's the guilt or shame of the holiday season that you look back and go, oh, God, like the pants fit a little bit differently. Maybe you don't feel so good. And it's enough pain to drive. It's enough pain to wake up and say, look, I'm going to actually look at it. And then no doubt this time of year is the only time of year that people usually make a change or attempt to make a change by taking a critical look at their lives. And so if you're doing this, I would just contend and have you consider that you might want to look at it more often because life changes. Life definitely does change and it moves at a rapid pace. So if you're only spending one time a year looking at some things saying, hey, I got to make a change, you might want to do it on a regular basis. Like, does this serve me? Is this working? All these types of things that go on in life. And most are going to wake up and say, look, I got to go get a gym membership. So I used to be there in sales of health centers. We called them, gyms, healthcare facilities. They weren't healthcare facilities. They were just fitness facilities. Health and fitness is the way we used to coin it. And we would oversell these health and fitness facilities because we knew we could. We would actually sell packages of personal trainers, and personal trainers, would get all excited, like, oh, wow, we got all these people that need my services, and most of them would never show up. I was one of these trainers when I worked in a corporate aspect of stuff. I worked on the sales aspect of stuff, too. We'd sell the hell out of all of this stuff, knowing the concept that people would actually have the attrition of the gym would be dramatic. And so somewhere mid-February, most people were already back to their old routines. But in my own mind, I often wondered what that was. Why would people invest and make a change and not necessarily make a change, but actually put forth that they wanted to make a change? Like, hey, it's like this. It had to be enough pain and it had to be enough, like, I got to make this change because they would see some sort of impact in their lives, that they wanted to go a different direction and have a greater impact in their lives. And so they would put all this together and then not do it. And my wonder was always why. Because I had this in elements of my own life, like showing up. Exercise was never one of them. Exercise was always something that it was infused in me. And the last podcast talked about this, but it was just something that I do. Movement is just part of me because I feel better. Or I don't like not feeling good. So I would do these things to be able to feel good. Same thing with the foods that I eat. I seek to actually get really good foods. I just tried a new meal prep company. And I'm like, it's not fitting. It might be the right calories, the macros, all those types of things. But I'm just like, blah. It's like, I don't know, something's off on it, so I might make a change on these things. But today's lesson, if you will, is you've likely done this in one or more areas in your life. You set forth 1/1/20, 1/1/19, 1/1/18 as the day for change. This is going to happen. And oftentimes we make it way too complex. And so coming off and doubling down on this concept of simplicity, you need to look at making your routine as simple as it can get. You can make it complex later, but you need to make it simple as it can get. I was reading the creators here recently, and the awe of the pyramids, like the magnitude of what these people did as far as building these pyramids, which were ascensions. They were attempt to please the gods, to attempt to cheat time. It is an attempt to span the life, meaning that life never has to die if we exonerate it in a pyramid, was the concept of the Egyptians. And although these blocks, these bricks, if you will, were feats within themselves, they were simplistic in their realms. They were corners. They were just a square. Now, some of these were upwards of 60,000 pounds, something like that. So 30 tons that these things weighed. All right, so that in its magnitude is like, wow, that is complex on how they moved it and did this. But it was not complex in the structure. It was actually complex on how they got it together, meaning some the corners are like just they're finite measurements. I've read some were less than an inch off of square on like a 13 square mile radius of some of these pyramids. And so obviously there was some greatness, and we know, and we call them the Great Pyramids, but if you look at the basics of it, it was in simplicity that they built this. It was probably in simplicity of like, they had certain amount of people doing certain amount of things, and it was simplistic in the aspects of this was a square, and the square goes here, and then we just put another square next to it, another square next to it, another square next to it, and then another square on top of it, and all of a sudden you had this thing that started to come through. This is no different if you're not catching this by now in your own body. You want to lose weight? It does not happen with a gym membership. It does not happen with you cooking the perfect foods today. But it is in the consistency and the simplicity of doing it day in and day out. That's why I tell people, do not make your workout routine so complex that you'll never do it. Or don't jump in and think that like you need to be at the 6-month level from now today and blow your back, blow your knee, blow your muscles out so much that you're like too sore to even walk for days. That is stupidity. That is not simplicity. It's in the aspects of actually just doing the work day in and day out. And this is why the simplicity of like a push-up would be my encouragement for you. You want to make a change, do push-ups and have a green drink. There's probably single most spectacular change that you could make for 2020. You want to know why, and here's the trick today, because in that simplicity, you will find a routine that starts to transform your body. It transforms your mindset, and it keeps you in this realm of like, if I can just do this, I got this. Meaning, set it forth. I don't care what it is, 100 push-ups. 100 push-ups. I'm going to tell my story of the 20,000 push-ups, which I'm at 19,467 as we speak. All right? I got a day today at lunch and tomorrow to finish my 20,000 goal. But see, the 20,000 didn't happen by doing 1,020 different times. It happened with maybe 100. I think I averaged 200 push-ups, 264 push-ups a day, which some of you are like, wow, that's a lot. And some of you also are like, man, that's all right. All right. If you've done them, you understand that that's a lot and consistently. There are days that I wasn't at 200, that I didn't do them for sometimes 3 or 4 days and then come back to it. So there was days of 1,000, there was days of 500, there was days of 2 and 250 consistently. But it was a pattern that I developed for myself. In simplicity, I needed to find a simplicity in my workouts because I had made them too complex. And you are likely doing the same thing right now. And this is why I'm doubling down on what we're talking about, is that you have to get a gym bag together, and the water and the supplements and the towel, and then constantly clean clothes and exercise. And do I shower at the gym or do I shower at home? And can I commute? And I have to get up earlier. And then how am I going to eat? And how is this all going to come together? We make it more complex than it needs to be. And then we don't do it. Meaning you don't do it and you're going to fall off of this pace because life will get crazy busy next week as things get back into order. As kids get back into school, sports start to happen. You will get eaten alive if it's not basic. All right? I've said this before, but my queen does air squats while she's blow drying her hair. I mean, that's simple, is it not? Could you not do something along those lines? And she jumps in and does push-ups with me as well. But I can do a push-up anywhere, anytime, and it is simple. But in that simplicity, it opens up a door for the capacity of feeling better, for the capacity of getting stronger, for the capacity of actually doing more. Meaning that if I have this and get nothing else, I'm consistently doing this. This is my benchmark. But then it opens up a door for doing more. And those of you know me, I run a lot and I do other things, but it's not always perfect. But I will say it's consistent. And you cannot expect a transformation in your life if you are not going to make it simplistic. And this is across the board. So the new year for you looking at a body, I want to lose weight, go away. Because the second part of this is it has to have massive purpose or it's not going to stick. You go to work on a daily basis because you have purpose. Maybe it's just to pay bills. If you're a business owner, you started with a massive purpose, which you've likely lost over the years because anybody that's owned a business as an entrepreneur knows that it beats on you. All right, you've likely lost that. So maybe the new year you look at, what is my purpose in doing this? But if you go back to work, it's because you have purpose. Purpose to pay the bills, purpose to feed your family, purpose to expand, to have more, to be more, to do more with your family, whatever that may look like. So you are doing that with purpose. But I have you contend that most people that want to change this time of year in their body, they don't have a lot of purpose. Just like we see a lot of people come in our office, their purpose is not very big. It is to get out of pain. And we'll have people tell me that, Doc, all I want to do is be out of pain. You have a massive problem here that's causing your pain. What do you want to do? I just want to get out of pain. Okay, so if you're out of pain and your problem's still there, are you okay with that? Yes. Right now, help me. I need to get above water. All right, and this is the concept for you guys as well. I want to lose 10 pounds. So get out of here because it has no purpose. Why would you want to lose 10 pounds? And I do this with our staff. We talk about these things as well, is that why do you want to lose 10 pounds? And it usually comes down to one thing, and that is to be more active, to be more functional, to feel better, to be that person that doesn't degenerate, doesn't degrade, doesn't cause a lot of issues, or can be engaged in life. And so when we start to find the purpose is like, oh, I want to play with my kids. Well, great. So then the byproduct of you being active, stretching, doing movements, getting your body back into alignment, on not only in your spine, but in your composition, that you can actually serve your family and be there, engage and have love your family and have fun with them in order to have connection. Then these things start to come into place. They fall into place. Like my body will lose weight naturally if I'm doing things that make some sense, that have big purpose. So consistency is one. Consistency and simplicity you can bundle together. Because if you do not make your 2020 goals simple benchmarks that you can go after, you're not going to get there. And if you're not checking that, you'll wake up December of 2020 going, all right, here we go again. This time I'm going to do it. This time I'm going to set this thing up right. And I'm going this direction. But without simplicity, it becomes complex. And within complexity, you will get lost in the details trying to actually create some movement that you will never get. So simplistic and consistent. Consistent, why? Because like the push-ups, if I wasn't consistently doing that, it would just be sporadically here and there, I'd get some done. It would never reach that 20,000 goal. Or I'd wake up right now and just go, God, I got 5,000 left to do. And I go, not going to happen. I can't do 5,000 push-ups in a day, even though I could. If I really wanted to, I could. But most people, once it gets that far away, instead of moving the benchmark, we just quit. We just quit in general. All right? And then second part of this is to find massive purpose in what you're doing. Find massive purpose. I exercise so that I am strong. The whole purpose behind my push-up routine was to get my upper body, and if you haven't looked at a push-up, it gets more than just upper body, but it is a lot of upper body movement. My chest, my shoulders, my back, my core, all into alignment that would serve the capacity for which I actually serve people a little bit better. Meaning I cannot stay at the pace that I was doing with the shoulders that I had, so I needed to actually transform it. It's a bigger purpose. And so I looked at that set of goal and said, in simplicity, I can make a change. In simplicity, I can actually transform my body. In simplicity, I can get to where I want to go, because if nothing else, I got this simple goal down. I get this simple goal down each day, and it shows up 6 months later in 20,000 push-ups. And it shows up 6 months later with no shoulder pain. What shows up in 6 months later is strong as I've ever been in my upper body. And I've been strong in my upper body before. But there was purpose in that, because I couldn't do my job, or I saw down in the future that my shoulders wouldn't hold up to be able to do the job that I needed. So what's your purpose? Where do you need to make things simplistic and consistent? Something that you could reach out and do 7 days a week. Well, doc, that might not be good for you. Correct. If you're doing CrossFit 7 days a week, I give you 2 to 3 weeks before your body's broke down, your knees blown out, something along those lines. Okay? I get that. But what could you do simplistically and consistently, like a push-up, on a daily basis, 7 days a week? And you start there. And once you master that in its simplistic realm, other things start showing up. Other things start coming into your world, like, oh, I have some capacity that I can do this. I could add a little bit more exercise to my routine. In fact, midday, I got another 15, 20 minutes. I could do this. And you start seeing that. But unless you have the second part of this massive purpose, there will be no drive to do what you want to do. There'll be no drive. So you must define why you're doing what you're doing. Simplicity and consistency and purpose. That's the tip and the trick going into 2020. You can make it complex. You can make it inconsistent. And you can lack purpose behind what you do. And you'll find yourself somewhere like the masses of people, spending more money on gym memberships, nutritional supplements, things to try to make a change with no change ever happening. Or you find massive purpose. You keep it simple and consistent, and you show up back here on this podcast in 2020, December 31st in 2020, listening to something and hearing something on this podcast with your life totally transformed in a different way. Up to you. Up to you what you want to do. But I have you consider today keeping it simple and consistent, and find massive purpose behind anything that you do for 2020. Anything that you set forth for 2020. That's all I got for you today. We'll do another one tomorrow at the end of the year. Another podcast tomorrow coming at you. In love and light. We'll talk to you next time.